Hi, I'm Ray Reyes. Welcome to the channel. Today, I want to continue to talk about the housing market here in the U.S. Mainly, a lot of people are talking about a crash of the housing market. I gave an update in October. This is November update. So let's get started. So basically, not much has changed in a month. Unemployment is a little bit better in September. We do see that forbearance numbers look a little bit better. Remember that forbearance is, if we look at this article here, forbearance is the option that people have to call their bank, call their lender, and get into the CARES Act program, which means not paying your mortgage for up to a year, and potentially in most cases, they'll put it to the back of the loan. For example, if it's a 30-year loan, then and you still 28 years, for example, they would put that amount back to be paid 28 years from now. In most cases, that way, I put a video out there about that a few months ago, so please look at that or call your lender or go into the website, and there's a lot of good information on that. So, what this article here is saying is that basically in November, it went down a little bit from having 5.7% of the mortgages under this program to now about 5.4% of them. Okay, which now they're saying that that's about almost $600 billion that represents those loans, those 5.4% of the loans. Now, some months ago, I did see that number up to it was very high, about 900 billion ish. So anyway, the point is that the trend is going down, which is a good thing. Okay. Now there is some interesting information that we are seeing. For example, in New York, the house prices are coming down in certain areas, and one thing that we can look at is we can look at the migration patterns. Now, I live in Florida, so in RedFin they have this really good information regarding migration patterns. So we see that here in Florida, at least in Orlando, we have a lot of folks coming in from New York to come live here in Washington D.C. Okay, and then we look at other sites, other places like Miami, Florida. Very similar. People coming from New York. Almost 30% of the folks moving to Miami are coming from New York. Arizona, a big chunk of the folks are coming from Los Angeles, and similar, in Texas, we have a lot of folks coming in from Los Angeles moving to Texas. Okay, so the interesting thing is that New York, we see that the rentals and the house prices have gone down quite a bit, and a lot of it is because of the COVID-19 crisis, and then unemployment. And other factors, people seeking to live in a place maybe that are a little bit more free to move around because of less people, like in Florida here. We are able to drive pretty much everywhere, anywhere, and that I'm sure that's not the case in many places. And also people moving out of high tax areas might be another reason. So there's several reasons because of that movement and out of New York and house prices coming down. Okay, so what are the things that we know most likely will happen? I think interest rates remain low this year and all of next year. That's high probability. Inventory is low right now, and inventory will probably continue to be low for the next at least 3 months. If we look at Zillow.com, you'll find some really good information on the average home price. If you punch in the city, in this case Orlando, you'll see that the price average continues to go up. And this is in most of the cities. Obviously, there are some outliers like New York, but most places that's the case, and that's mainly because of low inventory. And why do we have low inventory? A lot of reasons, but a lot of people got into this forbearance program, and that's holding back a lot of the inventory. I still hear from realtors that when they put in an offer, there's multiple offers going in. Obviously, again, there's some outliers like New York that the opposite is happening. Okay, but most places, it's still a seller's market. So I don't see that changing, at least in the next 3 months. I still hold what I mentioned in my last video. If you go to this website, you'll see the chart of when people started getting into the forbearance program. That's the top line here. And it topped out to about 4.5 million families, and that number has gone down. And like I said at the beginning, it's now at 5.4% of the loans, which I don't know exactly what number it is. But the point is, if we take this data and we add a year and 6 months later, right, because it's a year of the forbearance program, plus let's say if they don't pay in that year, 6 months later they'll probably be in foreclosure. That means we'll start seeing foreclosures Q4 next year. I still see this. Not much has changed. We do, if you hear now that we are increasing in foreclosures right now, but keep in mind that we're 80% lower than where we were a year ago. So basically, that's nothing. Okay, that's nothing if you compare it to previous years. Okay, so now what has changed or what will change? Okay, most likely we'll get a different president in the White House. If you go to joebiden.com/housing, you'll see their plan. They do recognize that there's a low inventory. They're trying to do something about it. They have other points of things that have failed in the past, mainly trying to get people into houses they can't afford. And a lot of that happened in the 2008, where the banks were giving out loans to people that simply didn't qualify. So there's some wordage there that makes me feel that similar thing is going to happen. So let's hope that's not the case. Um, there are some wordage there of trying to hold people from getting foreclosed, um, which I mean, there's not much details, but I mean, if you buy a house and you can't pay it, I mean, yeah, the bank should have the right to get you out of the house. I mean, the banks are in there to make a profit. They're not there to give out free housing to the folks. So I don't know. We'll see what the actual details are. But the point is, I don't see much change next year. Even if Biden comes in, it takes a while to get things into law and into effect. So I don't see much change happening next year. Obviously, the government can come back and do something about the forbearance. I don't know, extend it, or I don't know. They could do things like that. But at this point, that's not happening. And at this point, this is all the data that we have. So thanks for joining. I'll make another video as soon as something changes. But if it doesn't change, I just don't see a reason to make another video. So let's see how it goes. Thanks. Bye.